everyone, thanks for watching Access Hockey MI. Last week we did a recap video. We were gone for a few weeks, Rachel got a new house, all the fun stuff. So watch that recap video if you haven't already. We talked about a lot of stuff, and it's all very important. Today we're going to talk about a guy that we got for the Grand Rapids Griffins in the off-season for a 2-year contract. His name is Riley Barber, and we bring him up just because we talk a lot about the guys who've been on the team, so like Dominic Turgeon, Pat Nagel, Joe Hicketts, Dylan McElrath, all of our favorites, of course. But it's always nice when we get these other guys who, you know, we have to learn about, we have to see their game, we have to see how they're going to contribute to the team. And that guy right now is Riley Barber, because we just watched the first game of the Griffins, and he really stuck out to us. So we wanted to talk about him, alert you guys of him so you could watch him too, and that's what we're going to talk about.
First and foremost, congratulations on Brian Lashoff being
captain of the
captain.
Griffins.
We called it the
Hand
other
clap.
video. Yes.
Yeah, we did. Watch the video.
It's like a golf clap.
It's in there.
Nice, quiet
Promise.
golf clap. Anyways, Barber, 27, 203. He was signed
203 pounds. It's a lot of numbers. Just, you know, number. It's just, number 11.
You got to think real fast here. So he's drafted in 2012 by the Washington Capitals, so he's been in the professional system for quite some time.
Which surprised me.
That surprised me as well. I did not know a lot about Barber when we picked him up. I had even a couple people ask about him, and if I was excited, I'm like, well, I don't really know. I haven't seen him. We saw him.
Because we don't, as the Griffins, we don't play. She's going to bring up the Hershey Bears in a minute, I promise. It's like, I just know this. But we don't play them a lot, if like at all. Yeah. So that would be a reason we would not have known him.
And she says that because he spent 2015 to 2019 with the Hershey Bears of the AHL. And he was a very consistent point producer. So he was a scorer, plus he got a lot of primary assists on a lot of things. And it looked like
a lot of things.
Otherwise
known as goals.
All the assists. So he was really good with the Hershey Bears. They ended up trading him off to Montreal. And then he spent a lot of time with the Laval Rockets, which is really hard to say. Laval's a tough word for me.
Chris Terry, who was playing with the Grand Rapids Griffins before the offseason, and now he's in the KHL. He was also from Laval. That's
all the information for you today. So Montreal and Laval, those are partners. Laval's their affiliate. And then at the very tail end of the 2019-20 season, prior to the cutoff, he was traded with Wilkes-Barre Scranton.
All these hard names.
You guys got to make this easier for me. This is tough. So that's when we came in. We picked him up for a 2-year contract. So, and throughout his entire AHL career, he has had a lot of AHL games. He's very consistent. Season over season over season, you can see he's a point producer. He has a lot of games under his belt. With the NHL, the times that he spent with those NHL teams, he didn't get too much as far as exposure and points and things like that. But at the AHL level, he seems like a really, really good get.
Yeah, it makes sense now that thinking back to our first impressions of the game when we watched them against Chicago, in their first game, it makes sense to me now that he was as good as he was, knowing that he's had so much AHL experience already, being only 27.
He's a vet coming in.
Yeah, so it showed that he knew the game, he knows the league, so that I think helps a lot with it too. But I just really liked how, first of all, he was opportunistic. He was always getting the puck. He was always making a rush toward the puck. I don't know, something, you just know those guys that stand out to you, and he was one of those who, I was like, oh, there he is again. Oh, there's Barber. Who's number 11? You know, just because we're still learning the roster and the new guys and the guys that we don't have right now. So, yeah, the one thing for me would have been the opportunistic approach that he has to the game. And he just seems like a workhorse to me.
Yeah, same here. And the opportunistic part of it, too, it's really cool to see that in players, especially veteran players, too, because I think as they get a little older, sometimes, not necessarily with Grand Rapids, and this is, of course, not like a blanket statement, but I have noticed that older players do kind of sit back on their hunches a little bit to let
that's not Grand Rapids at all.
No, but a lot of times to let the younger guys take the lead. Barber, this is his first season with Grand Rapids, so you kind of almost expect a little apprehension getting used to the team. He seemed very familiar and very easy to play off the other players on the ice and seek those opportunities and take guys with him, which was
even
really cool.
in training camp, I noticed Barber too. And so every time he was
fast.
Every time he was on the screener in a play or something like that, I'd be like, oh man, who is that? And then the announcer would say Barber. And it happened every single time, almost every time I said it. So, and that kind of stuff, it creates opportunity. To be opportunistic clearly creates opportunity, and you take the opportunity.
I don't know if you guys got that.
Do you get it? Is it making sense? Another thing would be he's got a great shot. So clearly all the points that he was producing in the AHL until he's gotten to us shows that he's going to be someone that we can rely on to get some of those points. That would be fantastic. Like I said before, Chris Terry is not with the Griffins right now. He's in the KHL, and he was a huge point producer. I think he was like first or second in the league for points, for goals. And that's something that's
just a good human.
That's a big miss to not have on a team. So it's good to have someone kind of that can fill that slot. So of course, it's one game under their belt, so we're waiting, of course, for them to get in their groove and get to know each other a little bit better. I think already they have good chemistry, but it'll just help to have someone on the team who's got the experience that Barber has.
And with the way our divisions are set up right now and the teams that we're going to be playing consistently, he is, like Janae said, he's a workhorse. He's a hard worker. He's extremely quick with decision making, and his footwork is really sharp, I think, too.
Yeah.
And that is something that we're going to really need to capitalize on, because the division we're in and the teams we're going to consistently see, like Chicago, very fast teams, very offensive teams. If you don't start ahead, you're going to be chasing them the entire time.
Right.
So having a player like Barber, who does seem to kind of have that drive, is really good. So it will help propel them on the offensive end a little bit more and create those opportunities to get ahead of the teams that, statistically, they're faster than us.
Yeah.
And so
I do think he's gritty too. He reminded me a little, he plays a little like Dominic Shine and Jared Lugo Savages. We always call them by their last name, so it's like, what's the first name? He reminds me of their play style, so I was actually surprised that he wasn't in. We didn't get him from college because we hadn't heard his name much before. But
you can see the experience now in hindsight.
Yeah. So he reminds me of that kind of a player. So a scrappy, driving player is. I think it's very important. It explains the goals. It explains the opportunistic approach. That's just the kind of player that's going to get stuff done. That's very cool. So, what do you think that the team impact is going to be from this early on that we've got with the Red Wings and the Griffins?
I think early on for Grand Rapids, he's going to spend a good deal of his time there.
Yeah.
But he is the veteran leadership and, like we were saying, opening up those offensive opportunities. With losing a few veterans over the offseason, like even Matt Ford is gone now. Chris Terry, like Janae said, was a major point producer. Matt Pumple. So you've got all these veteran guys who are trying to fill these slots. So I think immediately the team is needing not only the experience and maturity.
Well, because we also have a lot of, not rookies, but guys who still need some...
They need some work.
Yeah, we've got a lot of prospects still needing work.
Right, and we expect more, too, especially as you roll into the 2021-22 season. There's going to be a lot younger kids coming back here.
Because, like, right now we don't have Joe Valeno. We don't have,
Bergeron
of course,
was supposed to be here.
Yeah, Philip Zadina is up with Detroit right now. Giovanni Smith has been with Detroit.
Yep.
So we're losing these guys. That's just kind of, that's what the AHL is for. It's for that movement. It's for the... not productivity, but the development of the prospects.
It's supposed to feed the main system.
Right, and that's what, so Barber, he has said that he wants to beat NHL. So I think he will make a good case for that. I'm not sure if that's where the Red Wings have him going. I wouldn't see it as harmful, for them to maybe try him out if they need him.
I don't know if you guys seen their record lately.
We'll just leave that one.
That's a whole other video.
So as far as that goes, we think he's going to be Griffins pretty much, I would think, for the whole season, and maybe after that if he sticks out to somebody.
I do think with the benefit, because he did have a short stint on the taxi squad, at least on paper, with the way that the season is playing out and the way that Detroit is playing out right now, I do think he could potentially get an opportunity to go back up, and if Detroit needs that, which they do, just put him in, plug him in, see what happens. You really couldn't hurt it as much as it is right now. So, with that being said, this could be a great opportunity for him, but long-term NHL, I think he's looking at maybe another season or two in the AHL, because the teams that he's with, where we're at right now, we're developing young players. Yeah. He is a younger guy still. He's 27. He's not exactly ancient, but that is old for hockey or older.
Right.
So I would want to see him, maybe take opportunity with the taxi squad situation and see if he can make a good impression that way.
But we love, if I'm going to choose, I would want someone who is a prospect of the Red Wings. Right. So someone like Giovanni Smith or like Philip Zadina, Rasmussen. So guys who are... their goal and the team's goal is to play NHL. Right. I would rather see that. I want Barber to get a chance, of course, because I think he would do a lot of good, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do this season, but I just feel like he'll be AHL for right now.
For a bit, yep. And he's not without talent. He's a very, very talented
just very
player.
Excited for the season. So happy it's back. So happy you guys are back.
And so happy we don't have to make plans on the weekends anymore. Because
it's all planned out. So let us know what you think in the comments if you noticed him at all or if you're going to watch him. Let us know who of the Griffins that you have noticed. And we can talk about the Red Wings too. It's not an off topic. Let us know what you think about the Red Wings in the comments as well. And we will see you next time. Bye, guys.